You're listening to Women's Media Center Live with Robin Morgan.
Welcome to Women's Media Center Live. I'm Robin Morgan. And we have a good show for you today. We have Grace McLean here. She is a young feminist, just startlingly talented, prize-winning actor, singer, songwriter, multi-talented person who comes to us from the Broadway musical Suffs, short for suffragists. And Suffs is, you'll hear more about that later in this program, but wow, that's a lot to tell. So, there's Grace, and I have some thoughts about spring I want to share with you, as well as some thoughts about what is happening on campuses, which we did a little bit last week, but we could do a little more, I'm afraid, this time. Anyway, and then, of course, there's fighting words. So, hang in there and don't go anywhere, because first, before anything else, we have to go inside those headlines. When you get older, as I decidedly am doing, you learn to wait. Now, that seems somewhat of a contradiction, because you'd think you'd hurry up because, there's not a lot of time left, and so you ought to, get a move on. But on the contrary, you learn to wait. I would hesitate to say I learned patience, because I'm terribly impatient, and I don't think I can lay claim to a virtue that I don't have, but anyway, I'd like to have it. I say you wait because in their time, things do come around. Sort of. Not the way you expect them, but sort of. For example, the lilacs are in bloom in the garden, and they are just a feast for the eye and for the nose. When you open the garden doors and walk into the garden, they hit you with their fragrance, and it's almost like an embrace all over. They're so beautiful, too. Limpid and languid and droopy and just gorgeous. It's a big lilac bush right in the center of the garden, and the center of the eye, too. It pulls it right in. And the lily of the valley are up all around their base. The base of the lilacs, that is. So the commingling of the different fragrances is enough to make one drunk. It's so lovely. It's so delicate, fragile, tiny, beautiful. And they're naturalizing the lily of the valley, so they're spreading. And someday, I imagine, when I'm long gone, the whole garden might be covered with lily of the valley. Oh, and there's a scent just to be worshipped. And then there are a bluebell or two in that heartbreaking color. And there's a darker dicentra, not a bleeding heart, because it's a different form of dicentra, but it's a dark blue, passionate flower. It's almost Spanish or Mexican in its coloration, and it's so lovely. And the herbs all have gotten in, there's the tomatoes are there, and there's some dark ones, there's some heirloom tomatoes, there's some little ones, there's some black tula, sounds like a wonderful tomato. That's one of them. And the herbs, all of the herbs are pretty much in, except for the sage. I have to keep an eye out for the sage. The violets are beginning to come. Their greenery is all ready, but they haven't yet poked their little heads up above. But you know what has come. The peonies. The peonies that I put in last year. Or maybe even the year before. And they didn't do anything. They leafed, and they were exotic claw-like shapes as they were coming up out of the ground. But they didn't flower. They didn't make the little buds. There were no little ants. And there was nothing happening. And I thought, maybe they won't happen at all. And then I thought, well, no, I've read somewhere, and I couldn't relocate it, that peonies bloom in the second year. So, hope, patience, all that. And there is a fat, round peony bud this year. So far, only one, but there is one. Peonies, can't flower without the little orange coral-colored ants that swarm all over them. If the ants are rinsed away, they can't come to flower. The ants eat off the waxy covering around the bud, which allows it to flower. I wrote a poem about that called the Peony Poem because I had read somewhere, again, you see the trouble that reading will get you into. I had read that ancient Chinese poets, many of whom were women, had to write the peony poem as a sign of their dedication to poetry and their mastery of form. So in my well-meaning, audacious fashion, I just picked up my skirts and my hems and my pant legs, and I went after a peony poem. And this was the peony poem that I chose, the one about the little ants. And afterward, a number of women wrote me and said, I wondered what those little ants were, and I've been hosing them off, and now I won't anymore. So the balance of nature was restored. The balance of nature has not been in evidence in the rest of the country this week, or this month, or this year. In New York, we have Donald Trump scowling in court and talking trash about witnesses out of court and getting away with it. He was fined for, trouncing witnesses and denouncing them and endangering them, but $9,000, and he hasn't yet been seriously enough, I think, dealt with. But of course, on the other hand, if you deal seriously with him, then it will rouse his followers, and I don't know. You can see that I want to go and sit under the lilac bush and hide. And then there are the campuses. And I'll talk more about what's happening on the campuses in Fighting Words. But it's such a heartbreaker because, in some ways, we seem to have learned nothing. I know we must have learned something, but I can't put my finger on it yet. We have to take a short break here, but I will return shortly, very soon, with my special guest for the conversation this week, who is Grace McLean from the Broadway musical feminist-produced, feminist-directed, feminist-starred in Suffs, Suffs, short for suffragists. You bet. Subscribe to this program on your favorite podcast platform and leave us a review. Follow us on Twitter at WMC Live, like our Facebook page at facebook.com/WMC Live, and visit us at WMCLive.com for more information about our show and our guests.
You're listening to Women's Media Center Live with Robin Morgan.
My guest for today's conversation is an actor and a songwriter and a singer and a prize winner and then some. Listen to this. Grace McLean is a writer-in-residence at Lincoln Center Theater for her first original musical. She received a 2020 Richard Rogers Award and a Lucille Lortel Award for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Musical. She was awarded Best Score from the Brooklyn Film Festival in 2021 and the Black Bear Award for Best Sound Score at the Athens International Film Festival in 2022. She's had 2 artistic ambassadorships with the U.S. State Department, touring Pakistan in 2015 and Russia in 2018, and her band performed in both the 2015 and 2016 Lincoln Center American Songbook Series. She's a recipient of the Vivace Award for Musical Theater 2023, the Jonathan Larson Grant from the American Theater Wing 2021, and Lincoln Center for the Performing Arts Emerging Artist Award 2017. It's amazing. Grace is one of Broadway's Women's Fund's Women to Watch 2021 and a member of the Civilians R&D Group 2019 to 2020 and a McDowell Fellow. They call them fellows still. I don't know why. We'll make her a sister, but she's still a McDowell Fellow. And she is with us today because she plays one of the few starring roles in Suffs. That's Suffs, which is short for suffragist, of course. And it's all about the suffrage struggle, which is fascinating and lively and quite wonderful. It is co-produced, get this, by Hillary Clinton and Malala. And it has won more awards than you can gnash your teeth over. So we have a prize-winning actor, singer, songwriter, multi-talented person, and her debut album, My Lovely Enemy, will be released on May 10th. And she's in a prize-winning musical. So I congratulate her in many ways and many fronts. And this is a musical to gladden our hearts. So here she is with Suffs, and it'll be fun. Grace McLean. Grace McLean. Congratulations on everything and welcome to Women's Media Center Live.
Oh, thank you so much, Robin. I'm honored to be talking to you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no, thank you. You are such a busy woman. You're doing 8 performances a week on Broadway. Do you ever sleep? No, we're giving up on sleep. No.
I was just joking to her. Every other blink is just a little nap for me. No, it's good. You got to go one moment at a time.
Oh, wow. Well, I have not seen Suffs yet. Suffs, by the way, listeners, is short for suffragists, not suffragettes, suffragists. The English were the suffragettes, and we were the suffragists here. And Suffs was written, the book and the music, and also, she plays in the production by Shayna Taub. And it has about 4 or 5 women who are the main players. And one of them we are talking to is Grace McLean, who plays, am I wrong, Woodrow Wilson?
You are right. I play Woodrow Wilson.
Oh, my God. Oh, geez.
Yeah.
He was the one responsible for forced feedings.
That's exactly right. And that is in our show. You
Well,
really get the sordid, terrifying, incredible history of the suffragist movement, in the years leading up to the passage of the amendment. So this whole cast it's all non-male identifying people.
Wonderful.
So there's women and non-binary and trans folks in the show. Which is why I'm playing the president. And it's really, it's fun, because there's this really interesting dissonance that happens, I think, when a woman's body inhabits that particular position of power. Because, we're not, all the clothing is it's pretty period clothing. Like, I'm in a 3-piece suit. I got the suspenders, I got the top hat, I got the vest. But I'm not, I'm a woman. We're not hiding the fact. There's no, voice manipulation or anything. Everything is in my singing range. But there is just a little bit of what's that? What's that girl doing being a man and telling those ladies what to do.
That's right. What's she doing with power?
Exactly. What is she doing with that power? And it's really, I think, sinister to see what these women were up against, because it wasn't outright aggression. I mean, it was with the force feeding. Certainly, that was its own kind of aggression. But the way that it was masked, the way that the hostility was masked with like indifference and dismissal.
Yeah. Which is usually the way with women. It's a very insidious and evil.
That's right. And it's so diminutive. Oh, that little girl, honey, you don't know. Trust daddy.
That's right. That's right.
That's disgusting.
Wow. Well, listen, as I say, I haven't seen it yet. I'm eager to see it. I know that it opened at the Public, God bless the Public, theater, and is transferred to Broadway now. And I know that the co-producers, I love this, are in fact Hillary and Malala Yousafzai.
Yes.
And so I can't, how did this happen? How did Hillary come on board, much less Malala?
This was really Shayna. So they both saw the show at the Public. Hillary came on some special night where there was some special political night, which we have a lot of special events because, this is a show. It's a show about voting, but that's not it. That's not really the end of the line. If it were just a show about getting women the right to vote, we'd be like, okay, great, you did it. Now go vote. It really is about what it takes to keep a movement going, because most of us know, like, oh, Susan B. Anthony.
Yeah.
And then women got the right to vote. But by the time that happened, she was dead. Okay, I'm diverting a little bit. But
no, I know.
It's just like, it takes a long time to get this going. So that's why we hope that there are conversations that continue after this show, and that people look up who these suffragists were, because all of them deserve their own musical, deserve their own biopic. So what happened was Hillary and Malala came to the show, and afterwards, when it was closed, Shayna just reached out to her and said, "Hey, you've meant so much to me, and I hope you like the show. We want to continue working on it. Would you consider working with us as a producer?" And Hillary had never done that before, but she really loved the show, and I think it reflects a lot of her life and the world that she's inhabited. Yeah, right. It's sort of a personal story for her. So she was excited to say yes. And it's so fun to see her around, because she just looks thrilled to be there. Like, she just looks
sure
so
she is
out of her. Yeah.
Don't you think? I mean, she must be, it's being, this is being memorialized in a way that's joyful, that's celebratory, that's,
That's right. Yeah.
It's not your usual, oh yes, the suffragists. Oh God, they were very serious and very, let's be grown up and grim. This is having a party.
It's fun.
Yeah.
And having a party. We're having a grown up party. And it's really fun.
So you take it. You take the struggle from obviously you don't have the vote by the time this is done by the curtain. So you're.
Oh no, we do. We go through ratification. We go through yeah. And actually, if you want to know this tidbit, I'm going to tell you, Robin.
Oh yeah.
The show really ends. At the very end of it is we jump ahead to 1975, and there's a new young girl. Because the show is sort of set up as Alice Paul, who's like the young new suffragist who actually she studied and worked with the suffragettes in the UK and was jailed and went on hunger strike with them.
I met her before she died. I was lucky.
You did?
Yep.
Wow.
Go on.
It's really incredible reading about her in the book that inspired Shayna, that Doris Stevens wrote, called Jailed for Freedom, which is about that struggle between Willie Wilson's two terms to get this passed, and the militant tactics that they took to get there. So it's about the struggle between that sort of younger faction and then the older, more conservative faction led by Carrie Chapman Catt,
right?
Who they were very much like, state by state. Let's just not upset things. A federal amendment? I don't know. I don't think so. Let's just go one at a time. And it's taken a long time, right? Yeah. So it's set up as this struggle sort of between generations. And in the end, it gets flipped on its head, because then Alice Paul becomes the older generation. And then this new young girl comes in and, no. What are you doing with this ERA situation? You're not getting it passed. You're not doing it right. I know how to do it. And so it really is about the way that, there's this wonderful lyric progress is possible, but not guaranteed.
That's great. That's
which just
terrific.
sets up, right, that it's something that we all always have to keep
Yeah.
fighting for. There's another. We did not end injustice, and neither will you. But still, we made strides, so we
Yeah.
know you can too.
Yeah. Oh,
Right?
yeah. This is the kind
It's
of
all about
show that
passing it.
sends you out into the streets marching and singing. I mean, this is just,
Yes. Yes.
and
Exactly.
I hope it will.
Exactly.
Because it's a strange thing. I mean, Gloria's 90, of course, now, and I'm not quite there yet, but I'm getting there. And it's very strange because you know when your entire life is reflected the movement and writing, those two things, but in activism, certainly the movement, you live every phase of the movement. So you've been through. I was watching the campus demonstrations on television last night, and the arrests and so forth, and feeling tremendous irony about this, because I could certainly remember the elation and the adrenaline and the blood coursing through my veins of the impassioned solidarity. But also, it is also true that people got sloppy back then and now, so that they weren't taking care. They weren't saying yes, and also on October 7th, that was an atrocity. They were sliding into anti-Semitism, and that's stupid because you're trying to convince these people. You're not trying to alienate everybody. So I was having all of these ironic ambivalences, which you only get when you're older and you see. You can remember being younger, and sympathize with that. Definitely, I'm forever defending younger women's activism, but you also have a different perspective. So this is very wise to place the musical in precisely that context.
Yeah, and it really takes all sides. They're both right.
Yeah, exactly.
It takes pressure from all sides to get the thing done.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely. Oh my God. This is so exciting. I can't believe it. And now we also have to talk about something else, which is very important in its own right, because you have garnered many awards. So too many to list, but I listed some of them in the intro. But your debut album, My Lovely Enemy, will be released on May 10th. With Meridian ECR Music Group. My God, congratulations!
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, I've been working. I've been working on this full-length album for a while now, and I'm really excited to share it with people. I'm just so proud of the work my collaborators have done on it, because this is not a thing you do by yourself. You got to get yourself a really good team of people that you trust to. Who understand your maybe off-center avant-garde pop vision.
that I'm familiar with that. Yeah.
So that's exciting. This is I love writing music. It just scratches such an itch for me, and I do it in such a way. It's not my bread and butter. It mostly is like this passion project that I have, but I've been doing it for so long and have gathered enough of a sort of a niche audience that I'm so grateful for, and grateful to be able to give them some of my particular medicine, because I really do think that as artists, we're in our own way, like we're little medicine makers. And sometimes we ourselves are the people we're making medicine for.
Yes, absolutely.
But there are others out there who need that same dose.
Oh, completely and totally. They're dying of hunger for it. They're thirsting for it. They really do need it. And they flourish when they have had it. I know that you also went with the State Department on an artistic ambassadorship with to tour Pakistan and Russia.
That's right. What incredible experience that was. Right? So we know there's not really funding for the arts here in this country, but what there is funding for these sort of like artistic ambassadorships, this sort of like soft power relations with countries that we sort of tenuous political relationships with, to go and just like share our art and to really have a real cross-cultural experience. That's what was so cool about it. It wasn't just like, here's my concert. It's here's my concert and now here's a talk back and now here's your concert. Like in Pakistan, I was at a music festival where the only non-Pakistanis were myself, my group, and a Polish group.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was groups from all over the country, from all the regions, and just hearing, wow, the diversity of sounds was just thrilling. Oh, and there was this one group that was just these crazy drums. And I was sitting with a woman who said, yeah, in Pakistan, we don't need drugs. We just need drums. So transformed. I love that.
God, that's amazing. Yeah.
And then in Russia, this was, I didn't go with my band, but I went with, I went with a small, like little jazz combo, and it was myself and a Venezuelan gentleman. And the whole program was called the Songbook of the Americas. So it was all sort of golden age music from North and South America. We sang in English and Spanish. And then the program was scored for a small chamber orchestra, which was local to every town that we went to. We were there for a month. So we were playing our music with Russian players, different everywhere we went. And I mean, what an incredible experience. We played at Tchaikovsky Hall with this amazing group. And in Pakistan, you know, we were in all the real sort of political cultural hubs.
Sure.
Everybody speaks there. Russia, I don't think so. We had a translator with us everywhere we went. Yeah. Nobody speaks the English. In Moscow, in St. Petersburg, it can't happen. So I recommend learning at least some of the Cyrillic alphabet so you can get yourself around. Haha. Well,
I used to joke that the State Department funded artists in this country to get them out of the country. That's where the funding went, not for anybody in the country. But oh God, no.
Yeah.
I mean, very little of that. But you know, but still, it is an extraordinarily valuable experience for the artist and for people abroad. They really do thrive on American art. If we understood that American art, in particular performative art, because there's something to see and experience and watch and be part of and listen to, is so major in the world's consciousness. It could transform everything. So I always feel that you're on the cusp of great things, Grace, and I will watch your career with delight and excitement.
Oh, Robin, thank you so much. I can't tell you how much to speak with you.
Oh, nonsense. And we will look forward to My Lovely Enemies. Wonderful title. It's a great title.
Thank you so much. Yes. And May 6th is there's a concert at Joe's Pub. So if anybody wants to catch some of this live,
okay.
Today.
Okay. And they can go to this play. This is a wonderful play, which has, hang on a second, which has won 5 Outer Critics Circle nominations, including Outstanding Broadway Musical, 4 Drama League nominations, including Outstanding Production of a Musical. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And that's not to even mention your awards, which are a lengthy list. So, I mean, both off-Broadway and now with the transfer on Broadway. And with your distinguished producers, it's at the Music Box Theater. And when is the Joe's Pub gig?
That's 6th.
A 6th, okay. All right. Well, we shall be there with bells on, watching you and applauding as Woodrow Wilson or as yourself in all of your permutations. I'm very grateful you took the time out to talk with us. Thank you so much, Grace.
Thank you, Robin. Great to talk to you.
We have to take one final break, but then I'll be right back with some fighting words. The Women's Media Center, founded in 2005 by Jane Fonda, Gloria Steinem, and myself, is a progressive, nonpartisan, nonprofit organization working to make women visible and powerful in media. You can learn more about the WMC at womensmediacenter.com.
You're listening to Women's Media Center Live with Robin Morgan.
repeating the same mistakes over and over, that's a form of madness. And that's fighting words. Repeating the same mistakes in the encampments, in the slogans, in the shouts, in the tenor and the content of the rage. It's no different from the 60s. Well, it isn't, of course. It is because we have learned some things. I'm straining to think of what. Well, one thing we've learned is that in the encampments, which mimic very much the sit-ins, and we didn't call them encampments per se. That's a new word in coinage, and it's picked up from the camps, from the refugee camps. But in the encampments, women did all of the housework. We washed things, we hung things out to dry, we cooked things, we got food, we fed the men. This was before there was a women's movement. And when we began to get glimmers that there was a women's movement, But I would bet you there are women in those encampments, in those colleges, who are doing the same thing. You see them only being arrested. You see the men waving the banners and climbing the walls and balancing in the windows and leading the chants. I haven't seen any women doing that. I've seen them chanting and following the men. And I wonder how deep the change is in the new left. It certainly isn't anywhere in the new right, which keeps passing more and more draconian anti-abortion laws. It gives you a certain weariness, this repetition, this form of madness, because it is. To keep doing the same thing over and over and not trying anything new, even if it fails, is really pretty silly. Nature doesn't do that. The lilacs don't do that in the garden. They don't suddenly morph into being rosebuds. They remain lilacs. They've done a good lilac thing. They've got a good thing going, and they're going to stick with it. But somehow, if you don't experiment, you're lost too. If you don't try something new, if you don't try to trick reality into some new discoveries, if you say, this is a repetition of history, the same repetition, the same history, you miss all the tiny and the vast changes that took place in the intervening, 50 years? And there have been many. So it's impossible to say that nothing changed just because Donald Trump sits in his courtroom, scowling, denouncing everybody, and seriously running again for president. Just because the press goes crazy when his son actually accompanies him to court one day. Just as they cover every iota of splatter that drops from his lips. I don't know why they're covering him at all. They could cover him when he goes out to give a speech if they want, but it's always the same speech. It's always the grievance. It's always the misery, it's always the poor me. I think even his base would get weary of it. Well, some of them are. So if it's always the same on his front, why shouldn't it be on ours? Well, because we're supposed to be different. Because we're supposed to be creative and inventive, ingenious, different. We're supposed to chart new paths and find new ways. We're supposed to be a new breed of hyacinth, a new kind of peony. We're supposed to be like the hydrangea, which, when it is in its natural state, goes pink. But when it turns that heartbreakingly beautiful blue, well, it does that because you've added acid to the soil. And when you add acid to the soil in bud, when it's in bud, only then, not earlier, not later, then it produces flowers that are blue. And the more bluing, as I say, the more bluing you add, the more acid you add, the more purple it becomes, the deeper blue. We could do that. We could change our spots, as it were, to mix my metaphors. But to do that, we'd have to stop chanting at each other. We'd have to stop mimicking the insanity of the Israelis and the Hamas fighters. We'd have to... You know, the hostage families have a point. The hostage families have a brilliant point. They don't care. They want their families back. They don't care. They're willing to bring down the Israeli government. They're willing to undo Netanyahu, whom they blame for this mess, I think, quite honestly and quite correctly. And they are acting like human beings who care about people they love. They're good models to act like hostage families. Because, in a sense, our whole culture, our society, our families, our lives are being held hostage by Trump's running, by Biden's weariness. And he deserves his weariness. He is deserving of it, but can't indulge in it. He's not got the recognition he deserves for being a great president. But that won't do him any good if these kids in their encampments all go out to vote and just vote him out. And they get Trump instead, and they don't care because they'd rather have something worse than something better. I think I better go back. I think I better go back to the lilac bush. I think I better go back to the time before encampments, and to the time before there was planting to be done, and waiting, hoping, and moving one foot at a time, which is the only thing we can do, the only thing I know how to do at this point. Because Biden conceivably might actually lose the election if young people turn against him, if they're stupid and foolish and dumb enough to... But if they're wise, and if they want to fool the pollsters, that'll be a different world. Meanwhile, it's spring, and the lily of the valley are out. That's something, anyway. Forgive these meanderings. I don't know if they're fighting words or ruminative words, but there they are. And that's our show for this week. You can follow me on social media at The Robin Morgan. You can check out my blog at robinmorgan.net, and you can find my new novel, Parallax, and my just-out new book of poems, Harvesting Darkness, wherever books are sold. Portions of this program were taped earlier. Views expressed here do not necessarily represent the WMC. Here's the family for Women's Media Center Live. Executive producer, as well as founding and sustaining sponsor, Regina K. Scully. WMC president and co-executive producer for this program, Julie Burden. I'm Robin Morgan, your producer and host. Thank you for being with us. Join us next time on Women's Media Center Live.